The value of drag and drop activities in Google Slides is that they can be used in many different subject areas. In this tutorial, we will be creating a drag and drop activity for a beginning sound sort. So when we're doing this, the first thing that I like to do is X out all of these things so I can have a clean space to work in. And since it is going to be a beginning sound sort, I want to create a chart, something that might resemble a pocket chart, so to speak. So I'm going to insert a table. And I'm also thinking about what things do I want students to be able to move and what do I not want them to be able to move as far as this drag and drop activity goes. And so what I'm working on now is, like I said, the table for our sort that's going to include our headers. I also want to format this table and I want to give it a border. And the border I want to be black. And I want it to be, let's say, 2 points. Okay. So I'm going to continue to pull this down here. And now I want to insert a text box with my directions. And I also want to format the text box. Again, I want a border. Let's say a 2 point. And then I also want to fill it so it's very noticeable. And I'm just going to type my directions, drag and drop the items below under the correct picture with the same beginning sound. So I'm just going to kind of scoot this over. I want to change my font. I like Century Gothic. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Maybe go back one. Okay, so now the next thing I need to do is think about finding some pictures to use as headers in my chart right here. And the sounds that we're going to be working with are the sounds that the letter G makes and the sound that the letter F makes. So I need some images. I'm going to go to Insert, Image, search the web, and I'm going to type goat for my first picture. I'm going to grab that picture over to the slide, and then I'm just going to work with it a little bit to get it the size I need for up here. So what this may need to be done is I may need to make this chart a little wider and this area up here a little bigger. This is just stuff that you play with as you're creating your activity. The next picture I'm going to search for is a fish. So I'm just going to grab one, put it over here. You notice where I grab it and put it, it doesn't actually go there. It'll pop up on your slide somewhere. Just begin, like the other one, to work with it to try to get it the best we can to fit in our box. Because we know students don't like pictures that don't fit. Okay, so basically now what we're going to do is this is going to be our background. We don't want students to be able to move any part of this during the drag and drop activities. So what we're going to do in order to fix that is we're going to go over here to File, we're going to click Download, and we're going to go down to a PNG. So we're going to download that. We're going to get a new slide. Again, getting rid of this. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to up here where it says Slide, change background, choose image, browse. Should be the last thing in my downloads. That's just the way that I have it set up. And there it is. So now you see, kids, we can't move any of this stuff right here. Okay, it's stationary. So what I can do now is get rid of this slide. And now we have this one. So again, if I'm wanting this to be a beginning sound sort, I need to search for some more photos. So let's search for gate. And you will see a lot of gates pop up. I want to get one that my students would probably recognize. And that just takes a little bit of scrolling. Here's one. Again, going to drag this over here. We're going to have to resize it because we're going to have to make sure that it will fit within the columns here. Again, we could have made this any size we wanted, and looking back, it would have been beneficial if I'd made these columns wider, but just for the video's sake, we're just going to keep it like it is. Okay, another word that starts with the sound that G makes. Let's say guitar. Find a guitar. I always like to use real images when I'm doing this, as opposed to cartoonish type. And this guitar, I think, would be more recognizable to my students as opposed to one of these over here, mainly because they have these in like video games. And so we know that most of them are familiar with the video games. And let's find one more word. Let's think. It's almost Halloween, so let's look for ghost. Of course, we don't want any of these scary things. You may not even want a ghost. I'm choosing ghost just for the sake of the video. So I'm going to put this over here. Again, pulling on those corners to resize to make sure it will fit in our column over here. Okay, so now let's look for some pictures. Let's start with the sound that F can make. Let's look for football. Okay, I'm just going to pull that over here. Again, we will just have to resize in order to get it to fit in our column. Let's think of another word. How about 5? Okay, let's go down here. Just a matter of choice which 5 that you would want to pull. Again, just trying to format this so it will fit in the columns. And one more. Let's try phone. We know that when we are searching for a phone, it's going to be a cell phone. So we are going to, again, work on these to see if they all fit. So now you see that all of these images are draggable, again, but our background isn't. So if I want to do the sort, which we're not going to go through how you do the sort, we just are going to drag and drop the items that go under the correct heading. So what I'm doing now is just making these small enough that they'll all fit in that column for the students. One last thing, when students are doing this, it will not work in presentation mode. They will have to do it like in what we're doing it in now.